A Course in Miracles, Lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. Today we are continuing the idea for yesterday, adding another dimension to it. You cannot see in darkness, and you cannot make light. You can make darkness and then think you see in it, but light reflects life, and is therefore an aspect of creation. Creation and darkness cannot coexist, but light and life must go together, being but different aspects of creation. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment for seeing outside you. An essential part of this equipment is the light that makes seeing possible. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance. Today we are going to attempt to reach that light. For this purpose, we will use a form of exercise which has been suggested before and which we will utilize increasingly. It is a particularly difficult form for the undisciplined mind and represents a major goal of mind training. It requires precisely what the untrained mind lacks. Yet this training must be accomplished if you are to see. Have at least 3 practice periods today, each lasting 3 to 5 minutes. A longer time is highly recommended, but only if you find the time slipping by with little or no sense of strain. The form of practice we will use today is the most natural and easy one in the world for the trained mind, just as it seems to be the most unnatural and difficult for the untrained mind. Your mind is no longer wholly untrained. You are quite ready to learn the form of exercise we will use today, but you may find that you will encounter strong resistance. The reason is very simple. While you practice in this way, you leave behind everything that you now believe, and all the thoughts that you have made up. Properly speaking, this is the release from hell. Yet perceived through the ego's eyes, it is loss of identity and a descent into hell. If you can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, you will have no difficulty in recognizing that its opposition and its fears are meaningless. You might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness, whatever you may believe to the contrary. God is the light in which you see. You are attempting to reach Him. Begin the practice period by repeating today's idea with your eyes open, and close them slowly, repeating the idea several times more. Then try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It is merely taking its natural course. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them. While no particular approach is advocated for this form of exercise, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you are doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. It is also the only one that has any meaning, because it is the only one that has any real use to you at all. If resistance rises in any form, pause long enough to repeat today's idea, keeping your eyes closed unless you are aware of fear. In that case, you will probably find it more reassuring to open your eyes briefly. Try, however, to return to the exercises with eyes closed as soon as possible. If you are doing the exercises correctly, you should experience some sense of relaxation and even a feeling that you are approaching, if not actually entering into light. Try to think of light, formless and without limit, as you pass by the thoughts of this world. And do not forget that they cannot hold you to the world unless you give them the power to do so. Throughout the day, repeat the idea often, with eyes open or closed, as seems better to you at the time. But do not forget. Above all, be determined not to forget today. Lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. That sounds poetic until it starts dismantling everything. This lesson is not about improving eyesight. It is about correcting the source of perception itself. Imagine sitting in a dark room trying to rearrange the furniture. You bump into a chair and blame the chair. You stub your toe on the table and blame the table. You accuse the room of being dangerous. But the problem was never the furniture. The problem was the absence of light. Darkness is not a force. It is simply the absence of illumination. The Course is saying something radical. You cannot create light. You can only block it. You can close the blinds, turn your back to the window, and insist the room is unsafe. But the light was never gone. You were simply facing the wrong direction. When it says light is within, not without, it is dismantling the idea that clarity comes from rearranging circumstances. We think if the furniture changes, we will see better. If the relationship improves, if the bank account shifts, if the body heals, then vision will be restored. But the light that allows seeing is not located in the objects being seen. It is in the mind that is looking. The equipment language is deliberate. Vision is not something the eyes do. The eyes are like windows. Light does not originate from the window. It streams through from a source. The mind is the source. An undisciplined mind is simply a mind that believes every thought it produces. It chases each one. It argues with some. It defends others. It is constantly rearranging furniture in the dark. Mind training means learning not to follow every thought. It means noticing a thought without climbing into it. That feels unnatural at first, because identity has been built out of those thoughts. When the lesson says you leave behind everything you now believe, it means you momentarily stop feeding the story of who you think you are. That feels like death to the ego, because the ego is a narrative. If the narrative pauses, it interprets that pause as annihilation. But what actually happens is silence. And silence is not hell. Silence is space. Release from hell means release from compulsive interpretation. Hell is not fire. Hell is the constant pressure to maintain a self-image, to defend it, to compare it, to justify it. When you close your eyes and sink past thoughts, you are stepping out of the courtroom. You are no longer prosecuting or defending yourself. You are no longer rearranging evidence. You are simply letting the light be present. Salvation sounds dramatic, but here it simply means freedom from misperception. Freedom from believing the darkness is real. Freedom from thinking you must manufacture clarity. You do not create light. You uncover it. Think of clouds passing across the sun. The clouds do not destroy the sun. They only obscure it. Thoughts are clouds. Light is the constant. The practice is not about fighting clouds. It is about remembering the sun exists whether clouds are present or not. Resistance rises because identity feels threatened. If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? That question feels destabilizing, but it is destabilizing only to what was never stable. The relaxation described in the lesson is what happens when you stop trying to manufacture vision. You stop forcing meaning onto everything. You stop insisting darkness is substance. Formless light means awareness without labels. Awareness before judgment. Awareness before categorizing something as good or bad. The world cannot hold you unless you give it the power to define you. Objects do not imprison perception. Belief does. So what is this lesson really about in everyday terms? It is about realizing that peace does not come from fixing what you see. It comes from remembering what allows you to see it all. It is about stopping the habit of blaming furniture in a dark room. It is about turning toward the light switch that has always been within reach. You are not being asked to understand light. You are being asked to pause long enough to notice it. That is why repetition matters. Because forgetting is the habit, and remembering is the practice. God is the light in which I see, which means clarity is not earned. It is uncovered. And the room was never the problem.